Welcome to the latest edition of our Seafood News Weekly Roundup show, brought to you by Urner Barry's revamped Comtel news page. I'm Urner Barry and SeafoodNews.com editor Michael Ramsing. It's our last show in the month of March. News is brewing from Canada's snow crab industry, and my NCAA basketball bracket is totally busted. These are all signs that spring has finally arrived this year. We have a great show for you guys today, with Canada's highly anticipated snow crab season on everybody's radar, and this week's top story. But first, it's been another busy week around the seafood industry, and so we start today's headline news in Peru, where weeks of torrential rains and flooding in Peru are impacting scallop production in the northern part of the country. Expectations are Peruvian scallop supplies to be limited, at least in the short term. According to European seafood analysts at the Seafood Trade Intelligence portal, the flooding is hurting Peruvian scallop production. Analysts say scallop farms in Secura Bay are closed indefinitely, while long-term damage to Peru's production and exports remains murky. What is interesting, though, is that U.S. scallop shipments from Peru were up sharply in January, according to data reported from Urner Barry's Foreign Trade Data Service. Back in the States, record high prices for many popular seafood items in the U.S. market are likely to support more shrimp consumption in 2017, given the item's relatively stable price and a strong supply outlook. A look at Urner Barry quotations show high market prices for salmon, snow crab, king crab, and mahi-mahi. Compared to these and other seafood species, the shrimp market represents a value and could be used as a replacement item on restaurant menus and among retailers. In other news, the American Pollock industry got a welcome whiff of stronger markets during the annual first A-season Pollock Row auction in Seattle. Trading and demand was strong and prices were generally higher than last year. Given the additional volume, the auction has been a welcome boost at a time when Pollock prices for blocks are very low. Meanwhile, two subsidiaries of Pacific Andes filed for their own Chapter 11 bankruptcy protections in New York court. Novell Foods International Limited and Golden Target Pacific Limited said they believe that it was in the best interests of their shareholders to file protection under Chapter 11 to ensure the continuation and transparent and comprehensive restructuring process. These filings follow a court decision in the British Virgin Islands this past February that allowed creditor banks to liquidate one of Pacific's other subsidiaries. We reported at the time that this decision was a big win for the banks that are major creditors of Pacific Andes, who want to liquidate the entire company in order to recoup their outstanding debts. Finally, the U.S. Court of International Trade sided with domestic shrimp producers who argued that duty rates for Vietnamese shrimp exporters were too low because of publicity about labor abuse. The trade court asked the Department of Commerce to explain its duty rate calculation in a decision that could raise duties on Vietnamese shrimp exporters and subject more companies to dumping rates. We spoke with international trade attorney Jared Goldfeder at Trade Pacific PLC in Washington, D.C., who said this decision highlights the risks seafood importers are subjected to under new customs laws that ban imports for forced labor. He said it shows that U.S. industries, in this case domestic shrimpers, are paying attention to labor abuses abroad, and it shows that even alleged labor abuses can be used as a means to curb foreign trade even further. Remember, you can head over to the Seafood tab in Comtel to get premium seafood news content in addition to market quotations and analysis. Now, for today's top story, we head up to Canada, where news is starting to trickle out from the long-anticipated snow crab season. First, in Newfoundland, major Newfoundland snow crab packer Quinlan Brothers announced their first contract with Japanese buyers. The company agreed with Maher Nichiro on a first order for 1,000 tons packed to Japanese specs. The Quinlan Brothers will operate this year with a state-of-the-art plant. The packer had to rebuild the facility after a fire razed their plant just before the start of the snow crab season last year. The destruction of the plant created a chaotic situation in the snow crab market last year, as Japanese buyers had to scramble to fill orders they said were solid. There certainly is a strong desire for more orderly Japanese purchasing this year on the part of both crab producers and their major Japanese partners, according to Seafood News editor and publisher John Sackton. Meanwhile, after a cold March, ice is thick in the harbor at Caraquet in New Brunswick. The first icebreaker to try and open the harbor to prepare for the start of the crab season encountered ice 4 feet thick and was unable to do the job, said some of the people at the crab and lobster meetings held in Sheboygan this past week. A larger icebreaker will have to be scheduled. Some participants said this could push back the opening of the crab season in the Gulf of St. Lawrence to the week of April 23rd. The industry is looking at a doubling of the crab quota in this area and is anxious to start the season. Remember, we've reported on this program previously how wholesale snow crab prices in the U.S. market are trending at unprecedented levels, according to Urner Barry quotations. The industry has been looking toward the Canadians to help ease tight inventory since Alaskan production was cut to historically low levels last winter. And that's it for today's show, but stay tuned to Urner Barry's revamped Comtel news page to read more about snow crab industry news as it develops. We redesigned our Comtel news page for you to have a more user-friendly way to access all of our premium seafood industry and market news content. The update includes our new weekly species-specific newsletters. Like the new Crab News Roundup we sent out to subscribers that included today's stories along with a bunch of other crab updates. Hop over to shop.urnerbarry.com to learn more about that upgrade or give us a call at 732-240-5330 to get started. As always, you can tell us how we're doing on Twitter by tweeting at us at SeafoodComNews and at UB Seafood, and you can like Urnerberry and Seafood News on Facebook to learn more about what we're up to. For Urnerberry and Seafood News, I'm Michael Ramsing. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you back here next week when it's April.